Hello and welcome, my name is Crash and Undead Unluck just finished his most recent arc, and what an ending to it. The events that happened on the last chapter may have shocked a lot of people, including myself, but once the shock wore off, the events just clicked. There was something that I thought was going to happen in Undead Unluck, but I wasn't 100% sure as to how, until today. Well, I'm still not 100% sure that's how it's gonna happen, but I think it may be. So click the video off now if you don't want spoilers up to chapter 94 of Undead Unluck, and for all the others, strap in because Ragnarok is coming. And not only do I think Ragnarok is coming very soon, I think our characters will not be able to stop it. And not only that, but Andy, Undead, may be actively trying to make it happen. To make sense of this, let's revisit the events of the last chapter. It ends with Fuuko being stabbed by this guy, and if that isn't enough to convince you she died, we do get the confirmation that she has no pulse by Rip himself. Now, I know, suggesting that the main character of a battle shonen is actually going to die, it's preposterous. Especially in a manga where we've seen other characters defy that already. I mean, the other main character's entire shtick is not dying, but not only that, we've seen Shen and Rip survive deadly attacks due to artifacts before. But the way that Shen survived is out of the question, as a prayer bead artifact only works if used by the person who kills the other. But to be fair, it's not completely out of the question to use the time-traveling artifact that saved Rip, because we don't really understand how it works completely. Does it work with people without a pulse that are already dead? Maybe it does, but what if it doesn't? Will the author pull a different artifact out of thin air or use the previously unseen ability? I don't think so. I think a more interesting way, at least, of doing it is to bring about Ragnarok. So, for those that may not know or remember what Ragnarok in the Undead Unluck is, well, it's the apocalypse. I mean, not the apocalypse, as that's this book right here, but it's the end of the world. Every time our characters miss a set of quests, they receive a penalty. When we reach the 101 penalty, Ragnarok happens, and God itself crushes the earth and from it reforms another. Ragnarok should destroy everything, but we are aware of two ways of surviving it, and this last chapter might just give us a hint that there might be a third one. The first is being undead. Since you can't die, you'll just survive and be dropped to the next loop. Simple. And I think the third one should work more or less like that. But then there's the Arc, which is an artifact we haven't seen yet, but we've heard a lot about. Arc can be used to travel between loops, and it's been used by Jews for a long time, as far as we know. Now, I always thought the concept of throwing Undead and Unluck into the fray at the very end to be a weird choice. I mean, there's 101 penalties, and we're essentially at the 99th in the first dozen chapters. But I initially brushed it off as a way to make the tensions higher. If we're at the end, that means we can't lose. But with the introduction of the loop, it started to make more sense. Maybe we weren't at the end of the story. Maybe we haven't even started the actual one. Maybe we're on a prologue. We are going to have to go through the loop, and I think the biggest hint to that comes in the conversation between Juice and Billy about the Arc, where she reveals that the Arc is at its end, and it can only function one more time. If Jewies and Undead could loop infinitely, I'd actually be more willing to believe that this is their last loop. Narratively speaking, defeating God in this loop would close their character arcs, never have to suffer through it anymore. And maybe we'll say this for Jewies, but the fact that we have one more loop in the arc leads me to believe that there's one more loop going to happen. Why set up that detail if not? Now, there is a lot of ways that the story can lead us to Ragnarok, we just need to fail two missions. But what if someone is going to try to force it to happen? What if that someone is Andy? We don't know exactly how the loop works yet, but we do know that some things tend to repeat themselves, and according to the one page we have of the previous loops, so do people. We see not only Juice and Victor, which is Andy in case you forgot, but also Gina and Void, two people we meet in the very beginning of the story. So even though the events may not happen exactly the same in this new loop, we should assume at the very least that Fuuko will still exist, and if all else fails, then Andy might try to force the loop to happen as a way to see her again. With that said, the loop will most likely not put him exactly at the beginning of the series. While I don't think the loop starts at year 0 of Earth's life without any living beings, we do know at the very least that it starts before the 1870s, as both Spring and Undead's backstories happen at around that time. I think Juice might try to use Arc's last loop to follow him. If not her, maybe someone else. Someone like Rip. We don't really know Rip's goals yet, but I'm willing to believe it's to bring about Ragnarok and seal the arc as a way to revive his sister. That's why he needs to be a bad guy. With him and Andy banding together, they could force a loop to happen, and this could even finally force Juice to find some rest of the constant looping. Although to be fair, it is not the most satisfying conclusion to her arc. So there is another way I see Ragnarok coming to fruition and the loop happening, but it does involve Fuuko staying alive. Honestly, it's the most simple storyline. Using the time machine artifact, they revive Fuuko. They'll continue to keep on doing missions, but eventually will lose, and Juice simply makes Fuuko be the one to go on Ark's last trip. It would at least provide a more satisfying conclusion to her storyline. But regardless if Fuuko is actually dead right now or not, I do believe Ragnarok is imminent and unstoppable. Union will fail. Mark my words. Hey, this was a bit of a different video as I'm not really a theory kind of guy, so let me know how you like this kind of thing in the comments below. And if you want to see me babble about another Jump series, then click the video on the left. And if you watched it till here, thank you very much, and I'll see you next video.